Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mysterious Pals. My name's Chris, and this week we're going to be talking about some spooky things. But first, I want to say hello and welcome the host with the most, Jordan. Welcome aboard. How are you doing?
Hey, Chris. I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm going to take you on
happy to be here.
You sound like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you on a ride. How about that?
I like rides.
But first, I'm not going to take you on a ride.
Okay.
That's weird. Gas is expensive. I don't have time for that. I got stuff to do. You can take a ride and get the hell out of my house. It'd be great. Anyway.
Kick rocks, kid. Is
that what that means?
Get out of here. Hit the bricks. Kick rocks.
Why do you think hit the bricks is a thing? Like, what's the entomology of that? Is it because, like,
I don't know if entomology is the right, but I know what you're saying.
Is that bugs?
No. Yeah, entomology has to do with like words, right?
I don't know. Where do you think that came from? What the hell is that about?
Hit the bricks, like bricks around on the road. Cobblestone.
Those are cobblestones.
Yeah,
hit the cobblestones, kid.
It doesn't sound as cool. Hit the bricks.
Okay.
Or like jump out a window.
Yeah, like
run face first into a brick building. I don't know.
It says it means to walk the streets, especially as someone who is unemployed or homeless. Go on strike. Yeah.
Why is it called bricks?
Usually the idiom hit the bricks is used to mean to quit a job. It may be used as an admonishment by the employer as a threat of termination.
Where the bricks come?
Because the idea is that one person must walk the streets looking for a new job.
There we go. Streets, bricks, cobblestones. There we go. Mystery solved. We'll see you guys next week.
And that is Mysterious Pals. Talk about
talk about 'ems.
Talk about dumb crap.
Talk about 'ems.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to something less interesting than bricks. Jordan, have you ever seen something unexplainable that you couldn't explain in the instance?
Wow. Put me on.
So, like, one example would be like, remember we were camping one time, we were out in the middle of that field, and like we were looking up at the sky, and the way things moved, but like messed with your eyes, and you're like, why is like?
Oh yeah, I mean like you can see the Earth was spinning. We actually
yeah,
saw,
but you could see like, but stuff would move, and you're like, oh, is that a flying saucer? Is that an alien? You know, it's like because stuff's moving, but it's like probably a satellite or it's a plane. It's really how.
Oh yeah.
Like that type of stuff, because it plays tricks on you because you're out in the middle of a field.
Well. Okay, but speaking of that, the one time there's that drive-in movie theater that's by us, I think from the past.
And it's still around. Right,
there's one, but they're like not many left in the U.S. We went, and it was like, we did that quite a few times. It was like, remember, super cheap.
Yeah.
Like beer.
2 movies in a row.
Yep. But like, we're kind of, not kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I remember like not watching the movie, but like looking up at the night sky, you see like a satellite slowly moving.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Wait, it's too slow to be a plane, but everything else is not moving around it. What the hell is that? I was like, oh, it's a satellite.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool to see that because I've never actually seen that before.
But the way things move at night like that,
yeah,
when you're at that angle,
it's
and
like an optical kind of illusion,
yes.
illusion kind of thing.
You think it's like moving around, like, you know, that's probably what a lot of the people that see things at night and they report like, oh, I saw an alien. It's probably something like that, or it's something further away, or it's something explainable most times.
I was playing tricks on you, but yeah, I don't. It's like that would be it. I don't think I've seen haven't seen any like anything I'd call UFO or like a cryptid, or like a ghost or anything like that.
Nothing.
I feel like it would came right to mind when you asked that. Have you?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't really think about the answer to this question when I wrote it.
I want to believe stuff like that, but I've never.
I want to believe it too.
Never experienced it.
But it probably, and you know, we talk a lot about in the show, like what it when we talk about our theme or like our theories, I think we don't try to take the stories to like the extreme of like, you know, try to play up the mystery. We try to like be like, what do we think actually happened? What is it more likely happened?
Right.
You know,
I like that we do the whole spectrum though. Like we at least give acknowledgement to like the more things that we consider far-fetched, not that considered wrong, but like we might think they're more far-fetched based on the evidence.
I think I'm a skeptic.
Skeptic?
Skeptic? Skeptic?
The skeptic.
I'm a skeptical, one of those. In that I realize that things are probably not like what.
I think we have a healthy
skepticism.
Yes.
And so when you see like a lot of stuff that's going on in the news and everything about like aliens and the UAPs and all this stuff, and then they show pictures, like you can see pictures from like different people on the internet, you know, and you're like, okay, that's fake. Some
Right.
things are like, well, that's weird. It's probably this. And, you know, you look at like experts say that, you're like, well, you can't trust the experts. Like that whole conspiracy spectrum of UAPs and everything.
That's also the problem with the internet right now. Like,
well, yeah, people like us are out there way better at it than us. But, you know, I'd love for them to be aliens.
Oh,
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
We'd be screwed if it really was these aliens.
Well, that's another thing. Like, would we be screwed because of that?
I'm saying like if they were mean.
Oh, yeah. So they're mean, of course.
If they were grumpy.
Yeah.
And probably knowing humans, we'd probably be shooting at them as soon as they, you know, so.
Yeah. If they're mean, we'd be screwed because like they're able to get here.
Yeah.
Which means they have advanced technology, which we don't have.
We have, not that advanced where they can get here. But there are also the theories like maybe they are, you know, a lot of the story now is like aliens are not, it's not that they're from a different planet or another galaxy. They're from a different dimension.
Oh, yeah.
And they figure out how to do that. And then if that's the case, that's why they can come and go as they want. It's like, that's the case. Yeah. You know, then we're kind of really screwed. I always thought aliens were probably just like, when you see these kind of like UAPs and stuff, you're like, how's the thing move like that? Like, probably because the guys are like this big and they can move around really fast because they're really small. You know, like the ships are really small. I always think like, I want miniature aliens. Like I want all the aliens to be like micro machine small.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
why couldn't that be a thing? They never talk about scale with aliens.
Well, that's the thing. I definitely think it could be.
I want either Godzilla or like the little guys from Willow. The little guys.
Oh, I thought you meant like Willow himself as in little.
No, not
the brownies.
The brownies.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. If you're talking about aliens, they could be a whole array or spectrum. They could be like this minute thing we can't see, or this massive thing that just like blows our mind how big they are. Like the whole spectrum. Like as humans, you can't possibly conceive how small they are, or possibly conceive how big they actually are. Like it would, it could be the whole spectrum.
Yes.
You're from our side, so like the smallest thing to the biggest thing.
Or maybe
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. And that stuff's interesting to me, just speculation, but I don't think
speculation, exactly.
I don't really think it's all I don't really think there's conspiracy about it. There may be, but I don't think.
Yeah.
There could be, and I'm open to it if someone brings proof.
But again, it's something that big of like a revelation or a thing, like
I don't think
how many people can. There would have to be a global depression of information.
Right. I don't think you can keep stuff like that a secret.
No.
One person in the government knows about it. That's more than enough.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no way anybody could keep that secret.
Yes. Unless they're mind controlling us.
Yeah. So like if you're saying the government's hiding from us, there is no possible way that they could hide stuff like that. Okay.
Are we talking about aliens today?
I don't know. I guess you have to.
I don't know.
I didn't even write anything down.
I'm just Googling stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, we could be talking about aliens, but let's come along. Our event begins shortly before 7:15 p.m. on September 12th, 1952, in a small town of Flatwoods, West Virginia. Edward, who's 13 years old, Fred May, who's 12 years old, along with their 10-year-old friend Tommy, were playing near Flatwoods Elementary School when they noticed a bright fire object streak across the sky. Okay?
Yeah.
They're out there playing 7:15 p.m., September 12th. So
it was still in daylight, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably. Or like dusk.
Yeah. They saw a meteor.
They saw something fly across the sky. I didn't say it was a meteor. Pull your head out of your butt and listen.
Yes.
The object appeared to descend and land on a nearby hillside in the property of a local farmer, specifically Bailey Fisher is that's the property, supposedly. Now, 1952. What is going on in American society in 1952 or the 50s?
Cold War.
And what would that lead to? Anything going on in the sky. Everybody's really everybody's kind of like really
spy stuff.
Yeah, they're always
clandestine stuff.
looking for
Sputnik
stuff going on. Right? Was that 52? Sputnik? That was like 59.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did Roswell happen at this point? Yeah, because Roswell was like
46 or something. Oh, was that in the
Roswell
40s?
was like I think 48.
No. The TV show?
Yeah, but
apparently the TV show. 47.
47. Yeah, but I think you're right. Sputnik was later. Yeah, they're like, Americans are a heightened sense.
57 was Sputnik. Again, 50s, Cold War, just popping off basically.
Yep.
Still coming off the high of the World War II,
the
booming 50s, or what do they called it?
The booming 50s?
What they called it? I don't know. The 50s was like
I like that. It's called the booming 50s. I mean, it was
the booming
in
20s.
America, yeah.
They see this thing happen. They run home to the May home. So that is Fred May, 12-year-old, Kathleen May, his mother, and they told him what happened, what they just saw. So Kathleen, the boys, Edward, Fred, and Tommy, along with Neil, who's 14, Ronnie Shaver, who's 10, and Eugene Lemon, who's a National Guardsman.
Eugene Lemon, that's a great name.
Eugene Lemon, National Guardman. He's 17 years old. They get together because they're like, "Oh crap, what is this?" Like the boys are just running around the neighborhood, and so they're like, "We're gonna check this out." Because they think it's a meteor.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Oh, let's go check out." The boys saw where it landed. Let's go there.
That's cool. They're like the Goonies. They're like, let's go check this out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
They all die.
I guess you have to wait and see. So as the group approached the site, darkness was falling. So what you're right, dark. It was dusk, starting to get dark. They were equipped with only one flashlight. It was probably like a big took like 12D batteries. Batteries were battery technology sucked when we were growing up. Like a Game Boy, you had to have 4 double A's.
Yeah.
And it only lasts like 20 minutes.
Not last long at all.
Game Gear. You ever have a Game Gear?
You ever hear of it?
Ever have one?
No, my friend did.
It had 4 double A's, but it lasts like 33 seconds.
It was bad.
So dumb.
It looked way better than Game Boy.
It was really
color.
Well, but it was zoomed in really far. Like the screen was smaller.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Smaller than Game Boy?
I can show you. I have one.
Smaller than Game Boy screen.
Yeah, because it was real zoomed in.
Really?
All the sprites were super huge because they didn't have as much processing power. Plus, power was an issue. Game Boy, they didn't have to worry about that because they didn't have any colors.
Why didn't they just use the bigger batteries then?
Well, was it more of a processor situation, like jamming all that crap in there with color? Like costs would probably be a huge thing.
Sure.
Apparently, we're on tech talk here instead of serious talk. All right. Can I get us back on track? Are you okay?
Did they have technology in West Virginia back then?
They had one flashlight at least. Okay, that's all we need to know. Sorry, West Virginia, if anybody's from there.
No, we're just
you're from West Virginia,
we're just messing around.
Please email us
It's a
in.
beautiful state.
The beautiful state to drive directly through and get the hell out of there. It's a beautiful state to leave. As someone who's from Kentucky.
Saying a lot.
Yeah. The beautiful state to fly over. I'm just kidding. If you're from West Virginia, write in and tell us why it's not garbage.
It's a great state.
Yeah. Where was I going here? Okay.
So they brought one flashlight.
One flashlight between the whole group. So at this point,
that's a mistake.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8 people. So as they climb the hill going towards the area where the crash happened, supposedly, they noticed a strange fog or mist, which several described as having a pungent odor. Okay, so they're climbing this hill, going over the crest of the hill to go where the crash happened. Kathleen describes the odor as metallic or sulfuric.
Oh, is this a stink ape? Are we doing the stink ape?
No.
Oh, good.
I don't think a stink ape comes riding in on a meteor.
But where would Bigfoot come from?
I don't know.
This is, likely stars.
You're saying that you rode in on a meteor?
Sure. That'd
be
way better of a story.
Yeah, that would. That's why he's not always seen, because he just comes on, hangs out for a bit.
Yeah.
It's like a dare. We talked about if I was an alien, it's probably
Hey, Stinky, ride the
Yeah.
meter down. We dare you.
We dare you. Like if I was an alien, I'd just be cruising by Earth and jacking people up all the time. Like, I'm gonna take this guy with me. Like it's just it's some kids out gallivanting.
Cruising.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back on
I
track.
got my dad's
here.
airship.
People don't like when we get off track. When they reached the top of the hill, their flashlights beam illuminated what they described as a large glowing object laying on the ground nearby. Witnesses referred to this as a pulsating red light. This pulsating light was on a type or kind of craft or mechanical object. So I'm being very clear on saying mechanical pulsating red light because of what the theories are about this. So about 50 feet away from the glowing light, the flashlight beam caught what appeared to be a creature now famously known as the Flatwoods Monster. So this week, we're going to be talking about the Flatwoods Monster.
Heard of it. All right.
Because they also, West Virginia has a lot of those things because they have the other Mothman.
Mothman, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's not such a bad state.
Cool stuff. Cool lore.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah, real cute.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what I think already happened?
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a weather balloon that crashed and killed some animal or hit an animal. Or they smelled some weird thing.
Pungent
smell. Someone
that
was
quickly?
dying, maybe.
Could have been just like fuel.
Or there might have been a skunk around that they might have smelled.
They're like smashing a whole family of skunks,
Skunks,
and just
yeah.
like just crushed them.
Yeah.
Here's the description of the creature. While all the reports from these people, 8 people involved, they were they vary slightly on the physical features, but they all have the same common features. Like they're all like
consistent,
but like a little different. You know,
Okay.
like he thought maybe the 10-year-old thought it was taller than the mom. So the creature was described being 10 to 12 feet tall.
Whoa, that's huge. Not skunk.
The head was spade-shaped, like the ace of spades, or hooded. It had glowing orange or reddish eyes that appeared to emit some type of light. Its body glowed faintly with a greenish hue. Kathleen specifically claimed it appeared to be wearing a dark metallic or cloth-like dress that flared outward at the base, giving the impression of a skirt or lower body flare.
So this thing had style, is what you're telling me.
Or it was just like the creature itself had a shape to it like that. Some thought the dress might be part of a robotic or mechanical suit. Witnesses also said the creature had long, thin arms that ended in claw-like fingers. Its movements were described as jerky or mechanical. Rather than walking, the creature seemed to hover or glide smoothly across the ground. So what are you thinking now? What do you think they're seeing?
I have no idea at this point.
I will say, as we go forward, there was a living thing.
Yeah.
Probably.
I do like that they have numbers, so like they all witness something like this. But then but also with that, they can be like, well, I saw this. Then they get back, I saw this, and like they could be feeding off of each other.
I think the big thing is that they talk to them individually, like separately. They got the reports.
Yeah, but like
as it happened though.
Yeah. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what this could have been.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly 10 to 12 feet tall?
10 to 12 feet is what the
Glowing
reports are. Glowing
eyes.
red, orangish eyes that pulsate.
Floated.
Yes.
Long gangling arms with claws.
Yes. Jerky motions.
Somewhat metallic, maybe.
Yes. As the creature came into view. Okay. So it's not done. The event's not done. As the creature came into view, it emitted a hissing or screeching sound and appeared to glide toward the group. The intense fear caused Eugene Lemon, this is the National Guardsman, 17-year-old, to drop the flashlight and scream.
Oh, come on. Didn't he have a gun?
Well, if something's coming at you. No, he's a National Guardman.
They don't have guns?
If he's not on duty. He was just hanging out and like, oh yeah, I'll go check this out. He might be sitting on his porch or something, you know? So as this happened, I'm thinking like Stranger Things type of thing. It's like a bunch of kids being like in the mall, like, oh God, and then taking off. But anyway, this is what happens. He drops the flashlight, they take off running because this thing comes at them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very cinematic sounding.
Yeah. Later, It was reported that the witnesses reported that the fear that was overwhelming, and several of them were crying as they ran. So like some of the kids were crying as they ran.
Kids, yeah.
Once back in town, Kathleen called local authorities and a reporter from the Braxton Democrat, which is the local newspaper. All right, so law enforcement and reporters arrived at the site the next day. They found details.
It wasn't until the next day.
The area where the group seen the glowing object reportedly showed signs of burned or scorched vegetation. Witnesses also pointed to the unusual tracks or impressions in the ground, suggesting the presence of a large, heavy object.
Jeez. Okay. So whatever was there, the government came and took it away.
Maybe. Hopefully. If you really want to believe in aliens. As well as the burned ground, there was also a lingering odor. Strange sulfuric smell reported by the witnesses persisted at the site for some time, though it did dissipate in a few days. But it was there when the reporters and the police or local authorities arrived. Some speculated the odor could have been caused by a meteor or the chemicals that given off or something burnt as it burned off.
Sulfur is a pretty distinct smell, or sulfur-like.
Yeah.
Potent smell.
Pungent.
Yeah.
Several witnesses, also especially the children, reported experiencing irritation to their noses and throats after the encounter. Okay. These symptoms have been linked to exposure to certain chemical vapors, such as those from natural gas and burning materials. It also suggests that the stress and fear of the event contributed to the psychosomatic symptoms. That's that sighting. We're going to move on.
There's more signs of this thing?
It was not an isolated incident.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Several similar reports were documented around the same time. Specifically, on the same night, residents of nearby towns reported seeing a bright, fiery object streaking across the sky. Astronomers suggest this could have been a meteor burning up in the atmosphere, as you would expect, which would explain the trajectory that it took, that it came down like that.
Yeah. So they do burn up in the atmosphere.
Well, yeah, but they wouldn't burn up on the ground.
Yeah.
So whatever hit the ground.
They saw something, apparently.
Also, a day after the Flatwoods sightings, another group in a nearby town of Frametown, West Virginia, claimed to have seen a strange creature resembling the Flatwood Monster. Okay. The details of the sighting were less widely reported, but added to the mystery. So I think some of the bigger reports were something going across the sky. Again, going back to the Cold War stuff, maybe people were always looking at the sky for that type of stuff. But
paranoid. Everyone's paranoid.
Yeah. Rockets, missile attacks, that type of thing. Local newspapers such as the Braxton Democrat eagerly picked up the story, dubbing it the Flatwoods Monster. National outlets followed and elevated the tale to a widespread attention. So national news picks it up.
We've talked about this a bunch of times. I think like it's an isolated incident. Then like when people start hearing about it, so it's like local newspapers pick it up, national newspaper pick it up. People are like, "Oh, I saw this thing too," or it becomes sensationalized. They sell papers. That makes you think of like the people the same night or the next night saw something similar in West Virginia.
The fiery streak across the sky was the same night.
Same night, okay.
But reports were taken the next day.
Okay. It makes you think like, oh yeah, we saw this in the newspaper. Yeah, we saw that.
There was a report in another next town over in Frametown.
Sorry, Frametown. Okay.
Day after there was a Flatwood Monster sighting or something resembling it.
So it makes you think like people
saw in the newspaper.
Yeah. Or the newspaper just made it up.
Yeah. In the 1950s, the United States was gripped by UFO hysteria because of Roswell had happened a few years prior, and the Cold War, as we said. So this is kind of like the popular culture of science fiction is kind of taken off, really exploding around this time.
Yeah. Do you think like you were growing up during the Cold War? Like, how do you think you would have handled it? Did you get to a point at some point where you're just like, oh, let's go about my normal business because there's nothing I personally as a citizen can do?
I find it fascinating living in the Cold War era. I'm saying learning about people living in there because like that was a time when America didn't have so much faith in its military because was it World War II, Pearl Harbor, and so our military wasn't actually as big as people think it was. Like we weren't as powerful. It's just we came in at the end. and kicked everybody's butts.
Well, we did. I mean, we did.
We did really good at fighting in the South Pacific.
No, we did. There was a mass. We had a because of Pearl Harbor. There was a mass push, the government-led federal push to we created war machines. So we actually were like big, but the threat of nuclear war,
right,
wasn't with Russia, who was just on par with us in what we were doing at times more so.
It was the idea of the whole ICBM, and like that was trying to take off at this time.
Yeah.
People were launching rockets, literally, but they were putting warheads on them.
Yes, yeah.
Because I mean,
we're constantly like, they're doing this, we're doing this, they're doing this, we're doing this. And it kept escalating, and they're like, oh, there might be in Cuba now,
right?
Just 90 miles off of Florida.
Because it was all about getting closer to launch missiles. And if you look at like, I love to look at
a communist capitalist thing too, but like I don't know how I, as a person, again, we're a different generation, how I react to something like that nowadays. Like how that constant threat, like how would I react to that? I don't know.
I think you probably have to just do. I mean, if you're a kid, you kind of that stuff just rolls off you. You worry about it, but like,
no, they were like the government made.
Yeah, you have to go under your desk and stuff like that.
Yeah, they made these like cartoon turtle to tell you like, hey kids, go under your desk, duck and cover.
Do stuff like that now. We do stuff now. Now we have to do, but first off, it's way worse now in schools because we're learning how to pack wounds from bullets.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's true.
We're doing lockdown drills multiple times.
Not to get political, but like what people are dealing with, in the whole Gaza Strip, like
Ukraine,
Ukraine, they're constantly in fear of like strikes at any minute.
Yeah, it's just now our strikes are a lot faster and a lot more deadly.
Yeah,
in every countries.
Sure, that's true.
Our weapons are way better, more powerful now, but we also have a lot more. There was I was watching this thing about all the crazy stuff that was basically invented in the 50s and 60s, basically to deter nuclear war, and like a lot of it like was insane, just because it was like these relay systems that go all the way across like the Western Europe. They're just like on the highest mountains. There are all these like huge that are still there. They're just abandoned. Relay systems, like satellite relay systems that are basically bouncing. Basically figured out a way to bounce something off the troposphere so that it can kind of angle it and shoot it down like further distances.
Off the what?
The troposphere. It's like the higher of the atmosphere, higher level of the atmosphere. Okay. We can bounce radio waves off of it.
I knew that. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew what he was talking about.
He's like, yeah, I know what the tropical sphere is.
Yeah. Tropicanosphere. Yes.
Yeah,
the banana.
I love their bananas.
Banana sphere. Yes. Great product.
Yeah. Mushies.
Mushies.
Shoot. So that like there's entire. You can look up maps and see where these like relay systems that were basically just if a missile gets shot from Russia, we have early enough time to shoot our stuff before we get destroyed. Like this like systems like that. Like there was one system America spent like billions of dollars developing in like I think the 60s. It's on I want to say North Dakota. It's basically like the most advanced early warning system ever created for missile launches, so that we can launch our smaller missiles into those bigger missiles like out of sky.
But
they only used it for 2 years, and then they shut it down because they were like, "We're gonna do mobile stuff."
Was it an intercept?
Yeah,
the bigger ones.
Interception. But like those type of things were just made so that people felt safe, But also to like say, look, you can try shooting ICBMs missiles at us, but we can shoot them down.
Like that whole doomsday clock thing, man. Like,
yeah, that thing's crazy.
Ugh.
I don't know who controls that thing, but they're always like, it's 2 things at midnight, and then they're like, it's 5 things at midnight. Like, what the hell?
It's always like 10 minutes from midnight. It seems like at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like 3 minutes times. Yeah, I don't know. It would suck to be a nuclear war, but it'd probably be over pretty quick.
Very quick.
I think for the most part, if anybody uses a nuclear weapon now, every country that has them be like, oh, now we got to blow them up. Come on.
It'd just be like
complete bedlam.
Yeah.
It'd be like, what are you doing? Come on.
Yeah.
Like every single person, all eyes would be like, whoa, step back. What are you doing? You can't do that.
Right.
So I think that's what we're always right in the door of.
Seems that way.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, right now.
Yeah. It seems much more worse back then, though. Again,
yeah, exactly. It was so much worse back then because they didn't think that there wasn't the trust in the military there was back then that we have now. Where like there's like a lot of our military is very powerful, very good at things. We're also spread across the world, we know when something's coming.
Yeah.
We can take pictures of anything happening at any second.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like go out and like watch any recent things about our militaries in general, the technology that we have, the technology they have, like things that are happening right now for technology. It's like I keep up with that a lot of stuff a lot. It's very interesting to me. It's crazy the stuff they had, like that we thought was like new technology was like, oh yeah, that's
like it wasn't like the was a stealth bomber had been around already that
yeah, I mean
when they're like, oh, American public just found out about it or something like that.
Like the way they, it's crazy.
Smart they do that because like you don't want to tell people your freaking secrets.
I mean that's the entire Operation Blue Book.
Yeah,
you know, you go back to this whole thing. We talk about aliens. They wanted people to think it was aliens because they needed the cover to make stuff. Anyway, we either got a lot of new fans for that or lost a lot of fans for that. Yeah. Yeah, well, all right.
Where were we?
God, here we go.
Flatbush?
No, Flatwoods.
Flatwoods, okay.
Flat trees. All right, so again, we're at this time, 1952 is when this is happening. There's a lot of stuff going on. You have the Kenneth Arnold's famous 1947 sighting of the mysterious flying objects in Washington State, which is kind of credited as like one of the first like.
I think we talked about it. We talked about it, like briefly once before. We didn't go in depth with that. I think we brought that up before. You might have been
maybe when we were talking about the airships. Maybe
that was the early 19.
Did we talk about that? I don't remember.
I think we brought it up at some point. That was before Roswell, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was kind of that's what I said. It's kind of the first kind of pop off. This led to the Flatwoods incident quickly finding itself woven into this tapestry of UFO lore. Like it kind of sucked into that now, into that world of UFO stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, I think the one thing that UFO we see this group that really want to see and find, you have that really have to be fighting back against the people that are conspiracy theorists about it.
Yeah, right.
The scientists are always fighting back about that. It's like you want to actually prove aliens are real. You have a lot. Like right then,
it's an uphill battle.
As soon as you say that, you're like,
yeah,
this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Not even realizing he's probably a really renowned scientist who may be trying to look at it from a skeptical lens.
It almost hurts you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why bigger scientists don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
They don't even want to say they're looking at it.
Right.
So Kathleen was obviously the most prominent eyewitness because she was an adult.
Oh yeah.
She has said what the body was, and head of spade, ace of spades shape, emitting a strange greenish glow. The boys largely corroborated this account, emphasizing the creature's height and eerie hovering movements. But we will never know specifically unless we take her for her word. They dropped the flashlight when they saw it.
Right.
It apparently came directly at them.
Loaded at them.
Correctly. The boys, everybody ran. They don't even know what happened after it came at them. They don't know if it like stopped, if it turned, if it went up, went down.
But the next day, everything was gone. Or at least what they saw.
There was nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the big thing was they all had some type of irritation from the smells or whatever. They had some type of like lingering shock type of thing of like nightmares type of thing going on in the days following. So they all seem to be generally genuine or generally had experienced something that was frightening to them. So much so that they have these affecting their sleep. It's affecting their physically affecting them. Something happened. We just don't know what it is. But let's go into some theories. It could have been something like a mass hysteria because of they call it social contagion, which could have been shared experience of fear, heightened anxiety among the witnesses. This could have been like they were already out there looking for something. Like people are always looking for something because like they know the Soviets are coming after them. Witnesses include the children and adults describe symptoms such as throat irritation. That's the kind of evidence that there was some type of physical thing. The shock they felt, and these kind of things that continued on for days.
For doctors, I feel like doctors have been involved in that. Like,
yeah, because I guess they probably looked at their. They did. Kids did get evaluated. I don't really have notes on that, but this also feeds into the incident occurred during a period of intense UFO extraterrestrial interest, which we talked about. That's a lot of people kind of go into that, like people were just really primed for this because of Roswell and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, it also lead to while those things are true, mass hysteria, the cultural influence of suggestion, kind of the news is feeding into it. News is feeding into Roswell and other things happening.
Well, I think they're also feeding off of each other, right?
Right. So that they're already primed because of the news and the Soviets and
yes.
So also there's kind of a distortion there where as the story gets told many times over, it's evolving slowly.
Yeah.
And as we get the story, it's already evolved
more and more exaggerated
as it's been told through the years.
Yeah.
So we may even get although these are supposedly the reports, it may have been embellished as it got told because there is
like a game of telephone.
Yeah, there's also we're going to talk about a guy who's involved with this. It could have been one of the people that made that distortion happen, kind of. And he was the guy who was coined this inventing the Men in Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this phenomenon
apparently that's a real thing. Apparently, or I thought it was a movie,
he's,
but
he's a guy who basically meant to, eventually. He's a guy who made that up.
People actually think that was a real thing.
Oh yeah, back then. So we talking for us, memory distortion is over a long time because from now since then. But for this, it's the kids are being asked probably 10 times a day what happened to retell the story to the media, and so that's kind of goes into what you mentioned. It's called memory conformity, where their story gets told so many times, they probably hear their friends saying it, and then eventually, slowly, their story changes every time they tell it to then become basically the same story.
That makes sense.
So they're not sticking to their own story, even though
shared memory,
because they're saying it so many times over and probably hearing each other say it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's kind of a common thing. And that was a author named Elizabeth Loftus, who had a book called Planting Misinformation in the Human Mind. It's a pretty interesting book from 2005. I didn't read it. I didn't read it all the way through. I looked through it. I looked through parts of it. And just said
Planting Misinformation in the Human Mind sounds like Inception.
Planting Misinformation in the Human Mind, a 30-year investigation of the malleability of memory. So let's just go with this one. Mythological and symbolic interpretations. People say, proponents of this extraterrestrial as a thing, they say that this could be extraterrestrial, argue that the Flatwoods Monster is a visitor from another planet. The bright object streaking across the sky could have been a spaceship or escape pod. The creature might have been sentient, maybe robotic or alien entity. And so this kind of idea that this actually was something kind of gained a lot of popularity with the UFO world, enthusiast type of world, and
well, especially the part that,
and it was taken by the U.S. government.
I mean, especially the fact that it might have been an escape pod. What was this thing escaping from? That's what I'm saying. That mystery of if you say something like that, people that trigger something in the human brain. What would it be escaping from? United States government, some alien race, a rogue alien coming from some other planet to warn us or something. You know what I'm saying? It was that trail of what does this mean if it's escaping?
Yeah,
escape pod.
Yeah. I understand. What is it running? Where's it running from?
Yeah.
So this kind of goes into also. It kind of leads to this what's called modern myth making, where an author Curtis Peebles talks about this modern myth making, where this UFO is used to make a modern folklore story that's going to be told over time, and we're talking 70 years ago,
like a moral kind of thing.
Maybe it will eventually. So this author was looking at it, talking about it, but I think what it goes into is our folklore that we say now that comes out of stuff like this in 300 years, is it going to be what we read stuff about Kelpies and stuff from, Knock the stuff we talked about. Is it going to transform to that over time?
Sure.
Well, this is like
it's definitely possible.
Watch out for the sky of something coming down.
Yeah.
There could be kind of that like modern myth-making mythology.
It's definitely possible.
Because it goes into what's talked about. Carl Jung, who wrote a book called Flying Saucers, a modern myth of things seen in the skies, talks about, he kind of combines the head of the monster, Flatwoods Monster, and like compares it to paintings from the Renaissance of angels and stuff.
You brought him up before, haven't you?
Yeah, he was when we talked about something else.
Some
other alien thing.
Yes. You did one of the airships when you did.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. But he talks about the Flatwood Monster resembling something of religious art, like angels. Kind of goes into that. Like
there are some weird things in the sky in a lot of those old paintings.
But also, like, but he compares it to angels and like, you know, is this person Kathleen? Or these people see modern, you know, they see paintings from the Renaissance, or they see these religious arts probably because they go to church and stuff like that. They're in school, and so that they combine it. I think that's what the only thing they do in West Virginia. Again, he said it, not me.
You said it's the only thing they do in West Virginia. Go to church.
Yeah, be good people.
What about that one?
Okay, how about this one? A technological and military theory. These could have been experimental aircraft or drones. We talked about the drones being a thing before we even realized it, you know.
Yeah.
Given the time of the Cold War, rapid advancements in aerospace technology, the bright object seen in the sky could have been a secret military test. Which also, when we talk about Kecksburg, the thing that Kecksburg, we talked about it before. I have a personal connection with.
Yes,
the reporter from Kecksburg.
Yes.
So,
what would have been the thing with the bright orange lights? Like I understand
it could have been something coming out of the sky, like it blew up and it crashed.
But I can understand like the thing crashing, but what would have been like the creature they saw coming out of it?
Maybe the pilot that was dying.
The drone?
Like, could have been.
Why would there be a pilot of a drone inside?
I'm saying like if it was some kind of aircraft, experimental aircraft, not a drone.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah.
It could have been the drone trying to take off again, you know. But the creature could have been misinterpreted of the technology, such as a parachute test dummy or malfunctioning reconnaissance drone. Also, could have had some radioactive or exotic material involved with it as part of it.
Yeah.
So the burned patch of ground and symptoms experienced by the witness could have indicated exposure to radioactive material or really powerful fuels that were burning.
To explain why they had like weird symptoms afterwards, maybe.
This might suggest the object was a piece of space debris, failed missile, or experimental Air Force aircraft, drone type of thing.
Yeah, because we citizens don't know. I mean, this is not a conspiracy, but like, no, in fact, we citizens don't know about what our government is capable of until like years after the fact.
Right. When you're like, well, you guys did what?
Yeah, right.
What are you doing? What?
Yeah. You've had this technology for how long?
Yeah.
That's known. So like, that's not a conspiracy thing. So maybe that's what they were doing.
Another theory could have been natural phenomenon and or environmental factors, such as unusual weather conditions. So atmospheric anomalies such as ball lightning. We talked about that before with that lady who melted.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah. Other rare meteorological phenomenon. This could created the impression of otherworldly presence. The mist described by the witnesses might have been caused by the meteor's interaction with our atmosphere or releasing volatile gases from nearby vegetation, or the release of these gases.
Yeah.
Which I don't really believe that part, but like maybe something with something crashing into the ground, burning that vegetation could have caused that.
Maybe, yeah.
The foul odor reported, though, they could have been attributed to swamp gas, to decaying organic material, or an unusual release of sulfur compounds from the soil. This might have been misinterpreted evidence of an alien or mechanical presence. The one thing I think about this theory is like, if a meteor did crash, causing the methane to come out from underneath the ground and kind of light on fire, it could have caused. I don't know if it's that crazy, but another theory is that part of this natural or phenomenon or environmental factors is that it's optical illusions caused by the environment. So witnesses described glowing red eyes and the creatures towering from could have resulted from an optical illusion in low light exacerbated by fear.
It seemed like they were pretty close to this thing when they came up to it, right?
It came at them.
But like, yeah, so
Yeah, pretty close. I can't remember if I read how close they thought they were. In any case, they were close.
Yeah.
To it, especially because of the gas and this mist and stuff that
Right.
could have been hurting them. We're going to have, there's two more. So one is hoax or misrepresentation theory. Then we'll kind of go into skeptical explanations, what skeptics say or what official reports may have said. So some researchers have proposed that the event could have been a hoax, either as a prank by local youth or misrepresentation by witnesses seeking attention. Although this theory can be difficult to substantiate, it cannot be ruled out given the lack of physical evidence. But I think it's weird, like you show up the next day and there's still evidence, but it's not like what they said.
Yeah.
There's still something happened.
Yeah, clearly something was there.
Right. Something did happen, and most people saw it, the meteor or whatever it was. Also, the media played a role in amplifying the story, which could have contributed to this mystique about it, or like the allure of it, right? So maybe these kids saw something, but the media blew it up to be something way bigger. And because local like law enforcement don't have the time to like follow it on the media and be like, no, it's not that, you idiot, it's this. This is what the kids actually said. They just allow people to do what they want.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going online and reposting something, being like, hey, this is stupid. You're wrong.
I feel like it's not far-fetched for the media may have done with the Cold War going on.
Right. And media it was reported, there was records of this, that the early reports from media, local media, because they were trying to get to the national level, I think, embellished witness accounts, creating a sensational narrative that resonated with the public because they were trying to play into that Roswell UFO conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
Sells.
Okay. So before I go into skeptical explanations, what do you think of all those theories?
I think the Mothman was in an escape pod and it crashed. And what they saw was the Mothman coming out of this escape pod, either asking for help or try to attack them, thinking that
Mothman?
Yeah.
You think this is both the same guy?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And red eyes, bloated. Mothman flies.
Does he?
It's a moth.
You ever see Jeepers Creepers?
No.
Really?
No.
That's a dumb movie.
Jeepers Creepers.
With the kids on the school bus?
No.
I actually saw that movie. That was dumb as hell.
Mothman movie.
Saw that. Is that Ashton Kutcher?
No. That's a butterfly effect.
I thought that was Jim Carrey.
That's 23.
Okay. All right. Let's go to skepticals. Skepticals explanation.
Yeah, I have no clue what this would have been, man.
Bunch of kids in a field, saw some crap. A mom's with them.
Got exaggerated maybe, either by the kids or the mom
media,
or the
what
media.
we find out in this,
yeah, for sure.
We find out about in this show is we talk about how the media kind of messes a lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
Or makes it worse.
Sure.
But I'm not the media, so what do I want to know? The most plausible explanation, supported by several investigators, is that the witnesses misidentified natural phenomena, animals. Skeptics often point to the common barn owl as the likely culprit.
Heard that before.
When startled at night, barn owls can appear eerie with their glowing eyes and silent flight. Coupled with the children's heightened emotional state and the atmospheric haze from the meteor's passage, a barn owl perched in a tree could account for much of the description. Furthermore, investigations by local authorities found no definitive evidence of extraterrestrial activity or unidentified creatures. Joe Nickel, a prominent investigator at the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, conducted analysis in 2000, concluded that the monster was likely a misinterpreted owl at night, and that whenever the boys or the group came up over the hill, for some reason, the owl was startled and came at them. Yeah. I don't know why an owl would attack you or go directly. It may have flew past them, maybe because of what happened behind it.
Yeah,
but that's it.
Have we thought it was before? I've seen this barn owl use an explanation before. It's been misidentified as like alien or like a cryptid kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing is like owls are Creepy as hell. They're up in a tree, which accounts for the height.
They can turn their head all the way around 360 degrees.
I thought it was a wives' tale. Is it wives' tale or wives' tale?
Wives.
That's a wives' tale.
Is it?
I thought they're gonna go like all the way around, but not keep on going. They've been back around.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay.
They can't go they can go all the way around.
Yeah, but they have to go. They can't.
They still have to go.
Yeah.
They can't just go like this.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. It's like, wee.
Like, that owl's broken.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any other theories now that we're done?
Yeah,
You think it was an owl?
Okay, so say they did see an owl, but what would account for they saw a crash? What would account for the metallic thing? What would account for like the long limbs, claws, float? Like barn owls can get big, but like not 12 feet tall big.
Well, it was up in a tree. I think the thing is that they're up in a tree and it came flying down.
Yeah, but like they're saying this thing was 10 to 12 feet tall.
Yeah, because it was up in a tree. And they couldn't see. And so when it flew at them, it looked like it was floating. But because they dropped the flashlight, it flew at them, they ran.
Yeah, but they said there's a red flashing light, right?
Yes. That's the one thing they did say.
What would account for the smell?
From what I understand, they're attributing that to the meteor that probably crashed.
So they're saying there's a meteor that did crash, but also the barn owl was part of that.
Right.
I can see that. Okay.
I don't know why the owl would let a meteor crash right next to it and then a bunch of kids scared it off.
I don't know.
So the other thing I mentioned before, the Men in Black, there was a writer who kind of, quote, stoked the story, was Gray Barker. He investigated the monster and became one of the more prominent UFO myth makers ever. It was Barker who wrote about the Flatwood Monster, then introduced the mythology of government Men in Black after he heard that 2 Air Force investigators had reportedly shown up in the Flatwoods posing as magazine writers.
Did he do the old Men in Black, the flash thing? Did he do that?
Probably. I think it's probably an owl, more than likely. I'd like it to be more. Figured these kids were out at night. They got a mom to go with them, for sounds weird. Maybe she was, smoking a jazz cigarette before they came in and got her.
You also could have riled her up. Like, we saw this thing, Mom. Come on.
Yeah, and maybe
she's like, the Cold War's happening. Oh, crap.
Maybe she didn't understand what it was. How do people know what meteorites or meteors are at that point? I'd hope they do.
I think they did. Yeah, sure. But I think, like you said, it could have been like a
shooting star.
What the term was, like, that's collective consciousness happens, or like, or you got a term for like
memory conformity.
That's what it was. Yeah, they're all kind of feeding off of each other, like
as the story gets out.
Yeah.
And so then you also
feeding off of it.
You also have the newspaper, the media on top of that, taking that and then expanding it out.
Yeah,
to get a story. Because I imagine at that point, any news outlet that got a UFO story will probably just like.
That's what's selling papers at that point. I feel like that and spy stuff.
Yeah, because also it's right after the time bombs get dropped and people are scared about that. So something flying into the sky could be
Russian.
Right.
Aid.
Could have been a bomb.
Yeah.
You can still go to Flatwoods and there is a figurine and stuff and the signs and there's a field where it was. You can go sit in the field, I guess. Really? Yeah.
I'm guessing like all the vegetation where it was there grew back. Assuming.
Yeah.
Grass or whatever was there.
Yeah.
If it was a meteor, does it give off a sulfuric smell?
I would imagine. Because going through the atmosphere, burning up, like maybe. Oh, but I think the sulfuric or the smell that they're probably smelling was vegetation being burnt. Maybe.
But that's a different smell than some sulfuric.
Not if they're burning something that's sulfuric in nature. Like if it's in something that is sulfuric, like
what? What vegetation would have that smell?
Oh,
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, what vegetation can have that smell to it?
Burning. What do they put? Fertilizer.
Yeah.
There's also So sulfuric is one of the main ingredients in fertilizers. The main use is
would
the
it be fertilizer out there?
It's a farm.
Oh, it was on a
Farming
farm.
town.
That's right. Okay. Right. Okay.
So the things in the field, I forgot to mention that. The things in the field, people were saying that those markings in the field they saw were from farm equipment. That's why there's things in the field.
Okay.
So maybe
That would be a metallic thing they would have seen.
maybe. Well, no, there was nothing there.
Oh.
But I don't know what the metallic thing is. But maybe they did see some farm equipment or something. But they said that the reason why there's marks on the ground is possibly from farm equipment being used in the area previously.
That makes sense then. Okay, yeah, all right.
I don't know what they would have saw as metallic. Maybe didn't see anything metallic. Again, one person with a flashlight.
Sure.
Also, that the meteor probably didn't land in the ground. The burnt area was from previous day. But I don't know what the smell, methane smell or whatever that was from. It could have been fertilizer from the field. I don't know what it was, but I do know that I'm happy for you being here to me. And happy for all of our listeners out there being here with us, too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Real great.
I'm hoping to see a Flatwood Monster someday.
I want to see something.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd probably crap my pants and die.
Yeah.
But I would love to see it.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, because you hear stories like, yeah, I saw this thing. But if I came up to you like, dude, I saw this thing, you'd be like, yeah, you're crazy, dude.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't talk to you anymore. I'd be like, I call someone to be like, can we get him like in a hospital?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. We gotta
commit him. He's got to get off the whatever he's doing after work.
Yeah. Kind of sad because like people probably get ostracized. I mean, people do get ostracized.
Yeah, they do.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but the internet, they can make their own friends now. They can find
people.
No,
forums.
Yeah. I don't know. You would hope people, but I think the problem is that the people that come forward are not
Famous of people.
No, that they're not doing themselves any favors by the way they like. We have too many misinformation. We have too many people that are misinforming or like jumping the gun, where the real things have to be weeded out. So, if a meteor flies across the sky right now, right, you probably have a bunch of people calling local authorities and flooding them with like, I saw this thing. Or if like the military does, like you see this in California time when they're testing missiles, we have like these weird spirals in the sky and stuff, and people are like, I saw, like, you know how many calls the police and like the people have to take?
Oh yeah.
And so that
even just air shows.
Yeah.
People calling like, there's planes flying over. Are we being bombed?
Yeah. So like you probably have a lot of like, that's the problem, is people say too much maybe, or they abuse the ability to report.
Or they just don't vent themselves better.
Yeah, maybe they don't explain things well.
Yeah, just like take a minute, relax.
Yeah, think about what you.
Yeah.
How about you call me back tomorrow and tell me what you saw?
Yeah.
But then you get that issue of memory conformity.
Oh right.
If the neighbor saw this and reported it, it's in the news, and you saw it too.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he's just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Like the guy saw the gold in the tree.
Yeah,
the leprechaun with the gold. Everybody saw the leprechaun.
Yeah, this guy gold though.
Yeah. So. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
I'm sorry we could not solve the Flatwood Monster, but if you enjoyed listening to us, you can see us on YouTube at Mysterious Pals. You can also, if you're watching us, you could also listen to us on any podcast platform you use. You may email us at mysteriousPalsOnline@gmail.com. If you have any questions, critiques, or have some type of, if you live in West Virginia and tell us how amazing it is, I'd love to read that on the air. If you have any kind of ideas for future shows, we'd love to hear them. You can connect with us on social media, which is all listed below in the show notes, such as Instagram and Facebook, and maybe TikTok. I don't really, X or whatever that is. I started Blue Skies.
Yeah, I'd say we're doing Blue Sky yet?
Yeah, I'll put it in there. I got to figure out what I named it.
Yeah.
But our music was written, produced, performed by Bethlehem. You may find them, the link below in the show notes.
I think they're having a new album coming out. We keep saying
I say that every episode. Anyway, thank you again for being here. Thank you, everybody out there. Jordan, thank you for being here. Next time we will be back. Will be next week. Same mysterious time, same mysterious place, same mysterious pals. And good night.